Recruiting players is arguably the most important part of running a football club. Some are certainly better at it than others, and with more and more Championship clubs spending money like it's going out of fashion, it's easy to forget some of the most incredible bits of business we've ever seen in the second tier. Whether it's a club legend signing on a pittance or a player who was sold on for more than 10 times what they were signed for, let's take a moment to remember you don't have to mortgage your soul to make a good signing. I'm Ryan Dilks from the second tier, and these are the 10 best transfers in Championship history. There's only one rule here: the signing must have taken place when the signing club was in the Championship. Let's go. Number 10. Emiliano Buendia to Norwich City for £1 million. Emiliano Buendia was playing in the Spanish second tier when Norwich decided to take a chance on him, and it turned out to be an absolute masterstroke. He played a key role in their promotion to the Premier League in 2019 and was their best player. In fact, he was the best player in the league when they won promotion again in 2021. He became only the third player that season in Championship history to get 15 or more goals and 15 or more assists in one season. It truly was one of the best individual campaigns we've ever seen from a player. Now you might be thinking that's all well and good, but there have been players before who've been signed for £1 million and have had really good seasons. What makes this different to them? Well, I'm getting onto it. The thing that really sets apart Buendia's transfer to Norwich to the rest is the sell-on factor. Norwich got £33 million for him, rising to £38 million when he moved to Aston Villa. It was one of the biggest sales ever for a player who had spent the previous season in the Championship. So for £1 million, you get 2 promotion-winning seasons and you get to sell him for 33 times the price that you got him for. That is what makes it stand out above the rest. Number 9. Wes Morgan to Leicester City for £1 million. Do we all need the story here still, or do we all know it by now? Okay, just quickly then. Wes Morgan was signed by Leicester in 2012. Over the next 9 years, he would become Leicester's captain, guide them to promotion from the Championship, play just about every game in their Premier League winning season, play every game for them in the Champions League the following season, and help them win the FA Cup. Plus, he would also make 323 appearances in the process. I hope that's all been properly explained because, unsurprisingly, he won't be the only Leicester player in this list. At number 8, it's Teemu Pukki to Norwich City on a free transfer. If you got a striker on a free transfer, would you be happy with 29 goals in his first Championship season, then 26 goals in his second Championship season, plus 2 promotion-winning seasons? Doesn't sound too bad, does it? That's exactly what Norwich got with Teemu Pukki. Considering his only previous experience in Britain prior to joining Norwich was a fairly forgettable spell with Celtic, expectations weren't too high for this move. What we got though was one of the best value for money transfers in Championship history. He even scored double figures in both Premier League seasons, which is really quite good for a team which finished bottom twice. Norwich didn't get much in terms of a lasting legacy for Pukki in the form of a stable place in the Premier League or a massive sell-on fee, but for a free transfer, you can't argue with 55 goals in his first 2 seasons in the Championship. Number 7, Ollie Watkins to Brentford for £1.8 million. Now, at £1.8 million, this is the most expensive transfer on this list, and you may be thinking at it, it's not particularly a bargain compared to the other transfers on this list, but this bit of business helped transfer Brentford completely as a football club. Brentford signed Watkins in 2017 and sold him 3 years later for £28 million. That's more than 15 times what Brentford signed him for, and was the most expensive fee ever for a Championship player until that was eclipsed by João Pedro 3 years later. Now, Brentford are a very clever club. They sign these players on the cheap, make them better, sell them for a big fee and reinvest it back into the squad. And this is the perfect example of that. Brentford used that money to sign Vitaly Janelt and one guy you may have heard of, Ivan Toney. 2 players who were key to their promotion from the Championship and have been regulars for them in the Premier League as well. And they still have loads of money to spare as well. So the Watkins transfer financially transformed Brentford, but he more than covered his original transfer fee anyway. Double-figure goals in back-to-back seasons as a left winger before a 25-goal season when Thomas Frank moved him up front, and he's not looked back since. Not bad for £1.8 million. By the way, Derby County turned down the chance to sign Ollie Watkins in the same season that Brentford got him, so they could sign David Nugent instead. Number 6, Kasper Schmeichel to Leicester City for £1.25 million. Not gonna lie, it was kind of difficult to avoid the top of this list just being full of Leicester players from that team, so I've tried to spread them out a bit. If you've got an issue with that, make sure you put it in the comment section below, and I'm sure I'm gonna read it. You know the story though, Championship promotion, Premier League title winner, Champions League journey to FA Cup winner. Kasper Schmeichel is arguably the second most important player in Leicester City's recent history. He made 479 appearances over 11 years with the Foxes. He, on several occasions, has genuinely been in the conversation for best goalkeeper in the world. So to get him for a measly £1.25 million, it's a crazy bit of business. I don't think I need to explain it any more than that. At number 5, Pablo Hernandez to Leeds United on a free transfer. One of the greatest players in Championship history, one of the greatest players in Leeds United's recent history, and he cost absolutely nothing. Pablo Hernandez is an ex-Spanish international, but before joining Leeds, he'd been knocking around at Al Arabi in the Qatari League and was 31 years old. But from that moment he first took to the turf at Ellen Road, you could tell he was still a class act. He spent the first couple of seasons being by far and away the best player in a pretty average Leeds team. Then he spent the next 2 seasons being the best player in one of the greatest sides the Championship has ever seen, Marcelo Bielsa's Leeds United. And he was one of the key reasons why they finally got back to the Premier League after a 16-year absence. It would seem the best things in life really are free. Number 4, Troy Deeney to Watford for £250,000. 419 appearances later and 140 goals over 11 years, a lot of which was in the Premier League as well. It's a pretty ridiculous transfer in hindsight, isn't it? And I know he's a bit of a joke figure for some now after his interesting spell as manager of Forest Green. But Troy Deeney was class in the Premier League. Of course, brilliant in the Championship as well. 2 promotions. He had a 3-season spell where he'd scored 19 goals, 24 and then 21. Of course, one of those goals, you may remember it. He's a Watford legend and for just £250,000 has to be included near the top of this list. Number 3, Peter Whittingham to Cardiff City for £350,000. In my view, the greatest Championship player of all time. He averaged a goal or an assist every 2.5 games in the Championship. And keep in mind, he played nearly 400 games. His consistency was absolutely wild. He had 3 seasons in a row where he did the double-double, which is where you get double figures for goals and assists. It's a massive shame that he didn't play more in the Premier League because he was a Premier League player, but he just loved playing for Cardiff City. That's why he never left, and that's why he spent 11 seasons there, being their best player pretty much every season, carrying them on several occasions. 350 grand it cost to get a Cardiff City legend. The memories, though, are priceless. Number 2, Riyad Mahrez to Leicester City for £450,000. People often forget that Riyad Mahrez started his career in England in the Championship. I was one of those people. I often thought that they signed him when he was in the Premier League, but no, they got him in the Championship. He made his Leicester debut against Middlesbrough 4 months before they won promotion, and let's be real, £450,000 for someone who would go on to become one of the greatest wingers of his generation is absolutely mad. Rather strangely, he didn't actually do that much in the Championship with Leicester. 19 appearances, only 3 goals. But his legacy doesn't need much more explaining, does it? Premier League winner, PFA Fans Player of the Year, as well as Players Player of the Year in that Premier League winning season, before he got sold to Man City for £60 million. Not a bad day's work for $500,000, is it? Let's be honest, Leicester scouting team around that time had one of the greatest spells we've ever seen from a football club at any level. You've got Mahrez, Schmeichel, Morgan, even N'Golo Kante when they got promoted to the Premier League. It truly is something that we've never seen before and probably never will see again. But despite all those transfers I've just mentioned, there's one which stands out even amongst all of them. At number 1, it's Jamie Vardy to Leicester City for £1 million. If anyone's got any problems with this one being top, just look in the mirror. I think you're the problem here because there's just simply no alternative. For £1 million from non-league Fleetwood Town, Leicester City got a man who guided them from the Championship to the Premier League title and into the Champions League. And he took them from Charlton Athletic to Atletico Madrid. Plus he got a cheeky FA Cup in there as well. This man won the Premier League Golden Boot in 2020, as well as scoring 24 Premier League goals in the season Leicester won the Premier League. For £1 million, Leicester got 190 goals, most of which were in the Premier League, in 464 appearances. And he's still going 12 years after they signed him. He's not just a Leicester City legend, but a legend of modern football. This transfer was so good, there have been rumours for years about a film being made about Jamie Vardy's life. Forget the Championship, this is arguably the greatest signing in the history of football. So there you have it. These have been my 10 greatest signings in Championship history. If there's any that I've missed out, then please, by all means, let me know in the comments section below. Do you agree with my list? Also, let me know in the comments section below. But make sure you like this video if you enjoyed it and subscribe for more content like this, as well as our podcast, which are coming out 3 times a week when the football season is back up and running. So that's going to be very exciting, isn't it? Well, this has been The Second Tier. I've been Ryan Dilks. Thank you for watching.